Daniel had never paid much attention to mirrors beyond what they were meant for. They were just objects, functional, predictable, something you glanced at without thinking too deeply. That was why it took him longer than it should have to notice that something was wrong. It wasn't obvious at first, not something dramatic or impossible, just a small detail that didn't quite line up with reality, the kind of thing your brain tries to correct before you even consciously acknowledge it. It started one evening as he stood in his bathroom, brushing his teeth in the same routine he had followed for years. He leaned forward, eyes half focused on his reflection, moving the brush absently as his thoughts drifted elsewhere. It wasn't until he stopped moving that something caught his attention. His reflection didn't stop at the same time. It was less than a second, barely noticeable, but it was enough. Daniel blinked, staring at the mirror as his reflection finished the motion just a fraction later than he had. His hand slowly lowered, and this time he watched carefully, his eyes locked onto his own movements, waiting for that same delay. For a moment, everything seemed normal again, perfectly synchronized, and he let out a quiet breath, almost laughing at himself for overthinking something so small. It had to be a trick of perception, a momentary lapse in focus, nothing more. But then it happened again. This time there was no doubt. He lifted his hand slightly, and his reflection followed a split second too late, as though it were copying him rather than mirroring him in real time. His reflection did the same, just a fraction behind, like it was learning. The delay was small but unmistakable, and a strange cold feeling settled in his chest as he slowly lowered his hand again. His reflection did the same, just a fraction behind, like it was learning. Daniel stepped back from the sink, his heart beating a little faster now, as he stared at the mirror, trying to force logic into something that didn't fit within it. Mirrors didn't lag, they didn't process movement or respond with delay. They simply reflected. That was their entire purpose. And yet, what he was seeing felt deliberate, controlled, like whatever was looking back at him wasn't just an image, but something observing him through the glass. He shook his head, stepping away from the bathroom entirely, turning off the light as if removing the mirror from sight would somehow remove the problem itself. For the rest of the night, he avoided looking at any reflective surface, keeping his focus on anything else, anything normal. By the time he went to bed, he had almost convinced himself it had been nothing more than fatigue, a trick of tired eyes and harsh lighting. But the feeling didn't fully go away. Sometime in the middle of the night, he woke up suddenly. Not from a sound, but from the same strange awareness he had felt earlier. Like something was wrong in a way he couldn't immediately explain. His room was dark, the only light coming from the faint glow of the street outside filtering through the curtains. He lay still for a moment, listening, but the apartment was completely silent. Then he noticed it. Across the room, the mirror on his closet door caught just enough light to show his reflection lying in bed, except it wasn't quite right. Daniel's breath slowed as he stared at it, his eyes adjusting to the darkness. At first, everything seemed normal. The shape, the position, the outline of his body under the covers. But the longer he looked, the more something felt off. Something subtle, but deeply unsettling. His reflection was looking at him, not lying still, not resting, but watching. Daniel's chest tightened as he remained frozen in place, his eyes locked on the mirror. Slowly, carefully, he lifted his hand from under the blanket, moving it just enough to test what he was seeing. For a moment, nothing happened. Then his reflection raised its hand, but it wasn't copying him. It had already started moving before he did. A sharp chill ran through his body as he realized what that meant. It wasn't lagging behind anymore. It was ahead. His reflection tilted its head slightly, studying him with an expression that didn't belong to him. Something almost curious, almost aware. Daniel's breathing became shallow, controlled, as he tried to convince himself. He told himself not to react, not to move, not to acknowledge it in any way that might make it more real than it already was. Then, slowly, his reflection smiled. Daniel didn't. The movement was wrong in a way that was impossible to ignore, stretching just slightly too wide, holding just a moment too long. And then, without him moving at all, the reflection began to sit up on the bed, its movement smooth and deliberate, completely independent of him now. Daniel couldn't breathe. He wanted to move, to look away, to do anything other than watch, but his body refused, locked in place as the reflection swung its legs over the side of the bed and stood up inside the mirror. It turned toward him fully now, its eyes fixed on his, and for a moment, neither of them moved. Then it took a step forward. The surface of the mirror rippled slightly, like disturbed water, and Daniel finally understood something that made his chest tighten with a cold, sinking certainty. It wasn't trapped in the mirror with him. He was the one lying in its place. And as the reflection reached out toward the glass, Daniel felt something behind him shift on the bed, pressing lightly into the mattress as if something had just sat down exactly where his reflection used to be. Its mythic Murmurs.